Hi, welcome back to the Chatterbox with King Jacob, where we bring you the best news, media, entertainment, community efforts, and with some of the greatest people around the globe. So tonight we are in for a wonderful treat. I am joined by none other than Tara Lynn Townes. Met her some years ago through social media and whatnot, and over the course of a period of time, we definitely stayed in touch and she's done some remarkable thing, in the community, growing awareness and fighting with purpose, power, and passion. The real PPP, for real, for real. You know what I mean? So, Tara, what's up with you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So, for those
Awesome.
that may not know you, that's in the audience listening, go ahead and tell them who Tara is, who Tara Towns is.
Okay. So I am a published author. I'm the inventor of two apps, two anti-bullying and safety apps. I'm a curriculum writer, speaker, developmental therapist, but most importantly, I'm a mom on a wheel of a mission. So that's who I am.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great.
I also
So,
sing, and you know that.
right, right, right. So,
I have music going on too. So.
right. So the awesome thing about you is you are a person who holds, a high standard on how people are getting treated in the world.
Oh yes.
And so with that being said, it's really a divine purpose, so when we are divine, we definitely are close to God. So
Yeah.
with that being said, let's talk about, you know, um, I think it's so amazing that you grow bullying awareness and you run these campaigns all over the nation and
Yes.
and things of that and you reach senators and congressmen and
Yes.
people who hold high positions, in the government.
Yes.
So why did you have a passion and a purpose to grow this awareness when it comes to bullying awareness?
My inspiration comes from my son, Encore. He was born with dwarfism, and from a very young age, he was bullied to the point of no return. So he was my daily dose of what and how people should not be treated, and
Hmm.
it pushed me into my purpose.
Hmm.
Watching him go through these incidents with bullying, I didn't watch many before I became proactive, but the few that I did see and how he felt and how he came home actually pushed me into my purpose, which I'm doing now.
Okay, okay. So um let's talk about your son for a minute, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, so um you say that he was diagnosed with what? So for people who don't understand, because this is
Okay.
education to me. This is education to me. So
Okay.
for people who may not understand, explain the level that you had to go to as a mother to really get a clear understanding to really comfort him and to really make him feel secure when he was diagnosed.
Well, first of all, I have this really cute, funny story. It's funny now. It wasn't funny. When he was born, the doctor came in the room and he told me that he had achondroplasia. So we do know that when those, scientific medical terms come about, it's scary. I thought it was like a cancer. So I just started crying immediately. And the doctor said, "What's the matter? Let me talk to you about it first." And I'm like, well, anything with the plasia at the end of it, it sounds like a blood disorder or a cancer, or, I was just a wreck. And he was like, "No, he's perfectly healthy. He's just going to be little." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, God." But that came with stuff. And that's what you're asking. You know, having just me being comfortable, what I did was educate myself about his disorder. That's what you do when you don't know something. So I started to read about it, and I got connected with the LPA, Little People of America, and they actually they have a division, they have chapters, is what they call them, all through the United States, and they contacted me in Arizona because they get every time a child is born with this very rare condition, one out of every 42,000 women. So I feel special that I had a baby with this, but it has definitely been not a walk in the park for him. For me, just watching it, for me, I'm okay because I love diversity and I embrace it, and I'm comfortable with anything that's different. We're all different, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says, but society
Right.
wants to label people who are born with what they call, I don't call anyone disabled, I call them beautifully diverse, because I feel we're all beautiful and different in some way, shape, or form. So what I did was just educate myself, like what you were just saying. It's education. It was definitely education for me. Just learning. It's interesting learning about it, learning different things. I mean, I've had two other children at the time, so I'm saying like, wow, they crawl at a certain time and they walk at a certain time, and just learning about the spine and their heads and how it's heavy on the spine, and they won't walk until they're like 2 or 3. But he defied everything, and I want to give that testimony. He walked at 14 months. He sat up at 4 months. He crawled at 6 and 7 months. They said that they do not crawl this early. Children born with this do not, and he did. So he came here. He's a force to reckon with.
Okay. 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 And so, tell me about the first time you actually ran a campaign when it came to the anti-bullying campaigns.
Okay. So we actually started, this whole journey began in 2017. It's just finally manifested, which is so awesome, into something to where it is today. And it's even expected to do even more. So I would say, like, in 2018 is when we began. We partnered with a former NFL player, and then it just grew into other influencers and people who are just jumping on, and political people, that you were just speaking about. So I would say around then, like 2018.
Okay. So, um, how extensive was that very first campaign, and what happened with that very first campaign?
Okay, so what happened with it was we decided to do fashion shows as a part of fundraising to allow us to visit. It was pretty intense, because along the way I started to be introduced to parents who have lost children between the ages of 7 and 17 because they committed suicide, because they were bullied. And so in the beginning, that was rough. I'm a mom, right? So to sit next to
Mm.
another mom or a grandmom, I'm telling, see, people don't know the back end. And I won't tell people's business. It's not for that. It's my service to God. I know that it is. That's the purpose that He really has, the calling on me to really be a support and advocate for these families who have lost these babies. But I've been in their homes. It's just treacherous. So the beginning part of the journey, before I was kind of, groomed into what I was going to be doing, it was a lot of that. And then a lot of
Mhm.
moms started just coming out, reaching out, and it just became like, wow, we have to do something. So in the beginning, it was a little rocky. We actually drove all across the country to all of these states, visiting the moms, visiting politicians and dads too. I don't want to just single out moms, but it's normally moms who connect with me with their children
Okay.
decide to do that. So it was pretty intense. Not knowing, my first one, learned a lot of lessons, traveled all over, spoke all over, and then the fashion show came about, and it was a big success. It was our first one, and we literally had 300 guests, and the fire marshals came by and said, if one more person comes in here, you won't have a fashion show. And I say, yes, I will. Thank you. You want to play the food. Seriously, though, it turned out to be something really, really amazing. We had a lot of support, Phoenix Suns and Goodwill of Arizona. We had a lot of sponsors. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Okay. 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 So, you know, me and I do a sports show right now on sports, and last night we had an episode called "Sports and Mental Health,"
Uh-huh.
and so we talk about how athletes go through depression, anxiety,
Mhm.
and we talk about how San Diego Chargers standout Junior Seau, was
Yes.
a iconic linebacker, did all this, and he still committed suicide. So when you talk about suicide in general,
Hmm.
whether it is or whether it's adults, that's something that me and my me and my bros always talk about, and some of the females I'm close to, we talk about that a lot because in the last 15 years is very heavy in the black community.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
it's very heavy, and so I just want to ask you, as far as like being a counselor and having a prevention service that's open and working with the minds of people's mental capacities that feel like they don't belong anymore in society. You
Right.
know, how does that work for you, and what drives you to be able to keep a sane mind while working with them? Because that's a lot to endure.
Oh, it's heavy. It's definitely heavy. And yeah, and I want to tell you, since a part, we'll get to my app, but since it, I had to do a lot of research before I really thought of the idea, and the numbers of how many children per year that we lose as a result of suicide and bullying is excuse me, roughly around 5,000. Half of the cases related to bullying. That's what the CDC said. This is
Mm,
Nothing has been updated since 2010. During the pandemic, because this is what I'm doing behind the scenes, and I am, constantly contacted. I was on the news in Las Vegas because there were 18 students that committed suicide in one school district. And that's when cyberbullying was heavy during the pandemic. It was last summer. And then recently, 65 children in Houston. A mom reached out to me there, and New Orleans, um, Utah. I mean, it's just been insane with these babies doing this. And so the pandemic stirred up, the mental illness that was already in everyone, right? People who
mhm,
are depressed, some of them are clinical, because there's different forms and levels of depression. That's another show, but either it's situational or it's an imbalance of your hormones, right? So we are leading, and it's not as adults. We are leading in the nation right now. Children, African American children between the ages of 7 and 17 are leading. They have replaced middle age. It was middle-aged white men, and then it turned into middle-aged white women who led in suicide. It is now African American children between the ages of 7 and 17. And I'm going to say this because we need to know this. Once, in our culture, I hear it a lot. And therapists are for white people. I'm not crazy. I don't need that's for white people. No, it's not. It's not for white people. It's for anyone who is enduring some type of imbalance. And it just could be emotional, it could be situational. Like bullying is situational, right? These children, a lot of them, straight A students, I'm telling you, straight A students, wanted to be astronauts and just have all of these awesome aspirations. And then we have a group of children, or one child, who just destroys their dream of life and their future by violating them intentionally. So the bottom line is situational. Are there some children clinically depressed? Absolutely, in every culture. But I feel that the climb is happening because our culture is not recognizing it enough, that
mm,
there is a serious epidemic living within this pandemic. And yes, my heart goes out, in answer to your question about how I feel about it. My heart goes out to anyone who is depressed and anyone who feels like they don't want to be here anymore because of a person, a place, or a situation. Even adults, I'm saying, who just say that, something totally, like, I just don't want to be here anymore because my circumstances are overwhelming to me. People say, "Oh,
mm,
shake it off." Oh, they can. You cannot listen. If it's clinical, there are real hormones that we have. There are happy hormones and there are sad hormones in our body. Okay, and sometimes there's an imbalance that causes this. It can be caused through pregnancy. It could be caused through your environment. It can be caused, a lot of causes that take place, but something happens. You can be born with chemical imbalances, hereditary, different things. But how I deal with it, number one, I have an immense amount of empathy, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. It's rough, it's extreme, And as a mother with the heart that I have, it's, meaning I love hard and big and love children, work with children all my life. And to know that they are feeling so alone that they have to just say, I'm leaving the building, you guys. They don't even think about the aftermath. So, what I do is number one, I pray, and that's just the truth. God has given me this task. So, He's also equipped me with what I need, the skills, because it's not easy. I mean, there have been times where I totally, when I'm after I meet with a mom and I go to their home and I have to keep a straight face and I go in their restroom and just bawl. I'm human. You know what I mean? It hurts for another mother or a child to, I'm also a child development specialist and a developmental therapist. So my area is children, primarily my specialty. But anyway, what I do is I do a lot of things to take care of myself. I really do. I do massage, I get massages, not Reiki, I'm sorry, reflexology. I get, everything, facials, just things, because you have to, when you're working with this heaviness, you have to release constantly. And if you don't, it begins to come in you. And that's what I won't allow to happen, because I love being alive and I love that I have, a happy, upbeat spirit. You know what I mean? And that's the environment in my home. The tone is set in my home to be the same. So that is how I deal with it. Once again, prayer, meditation, everything, writing. I love to write. I'm a published author. So that is a release for me. Anything that I can find that takes me in another place when I'm done with, certain things on this journey is how I keep myself glued.
Okay, okay, great, great, great. And so, and with that being said, it's just been, I've just been amazed on how much you have accomplished. Since I started, connecting with you, because when me and you connected, it was about you being a singer songwriter.
Yes.
What I mean, and it was about you
Music.
really, taking your music to the next level. But
Yes.
with you with you doing this right here, so I said, man, I wonder has she written a song for the National Bullying Campaign? So
I did.
okay, 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 okay.
I
I
did.
I, I kind of figured you did, so
Okay.
that's what's up. So
Yeah.
so with that with that being said, 7 to 17 years old, African American children,
Mm-hmm.
it's a high rate with suicide.
Yes.
Uh, and so when you actually talk to these parents, and you talk to school principals and school teachers, and you talk to athletic coaches and stuff like that, like what are the type of conversations y'all have, or how do you help them understand, because some people feel like maybe I could have did something to stop this, and
Yeah.
so and some people blame themselves. So what are with you being a counselor, what are your conversations with the people that blame themselves?
So people who blame themselves, I mean, the app is, this is, we'll get to that once again, but the app really is the answer to their concerns. And when they talk to me, because I do get people, educators say, I'm a great teacher. I've been teaching for many years. I love my students. Like, how in the world did one of them, or could one of them even think to do this? And how I answered this was, this is very important for anyone to know who works with children or who have direct contact with children that are in the midst of bullying scenarios, is that children do not think, they live in the moment, number one, right? Like a childlike state in mind. And sometimes we should stay in there and visit them, because they really don't overload the way that we do as adults. We lose a piece of that. But anyway, getting back to your question, children live in the moment. So when they're being bullied, it's the end of the world to them in that moment, right? So when they
Hmm.
reach out to us or not, because they also ask me, what are the signs? What are the, and I'll get into that as well. But they live in the moment. So basically, they want it to go away right now. Okay. They're
Hmm.
not thinking that, oh, I was going to be married one day, or I was going to have children one day, or my parents are going to be devastated and they're going to want to die themselves. Like, it's really, really serious, the aftermath with these families. And this is why I'm on this crusade and advocacy so hard about this, is because no one really knows what these families are going through after. They just see it in the news real quick. They do a little GoFundMe and then it disappears, but it does not disappear. Imagine seriously having to live in the same house that your child hung themselves from the closet or the bedpost, and you have to go past that room every day. Oh my God. But no one thinks about that, right?
Right,
So,
right.
in answer to your question, how I present any questions that come in this type of way or form about this is that yes, you can be a help. You can redirect the behavior. You can listen, stay connected to these kids, because when they come and tell you, hey, this person pulled my hair. Hey, this person says my hair is thick and it's curly and I'm weird. Hey, this person said I'm too tall, too short, wear braces. I mean, these kids are so picky. It's the labels that society gives them to even use on people, right? Society
Hmm.
created these labels. They're just babies. They're just existing in the world that we created for them. So who is the blame? So it's not, I do, because I know that I know I have a situation where there's a teacher admin who had a child come to her, and she said, hey, I'm busy right now, I have important things, and he literally did go take his life that night. So do you understand the guilt that this woman walks around with, right? So the thing is that in the now is to really educate your staff yourself. Once again, I have the resolution I'm trying to tell you when we get to the app and the curriculum, but it's just redirecting it and being open. The bottom line is to be an open line of communication. No
Hmm.
longer when your child gets in the car and you say, hey, how is school? It's too open ended. If they're being bullied anyway, they hide it. They're going to say, oh, cool. Don't do that. I ask direct questions so that my son continues to talk. What did you guys do in school today? How'd you like math class? Do you have any new students? Like stuff like that to get it out. Well, yeah, there is a new student and he's kind of rough. Oh, how is he rough? Well, they always say that that the bully's bullying other kids until they trust you to say that it's really them. Well, he's making other kids cry and feel bad, and then eventually, has he ever done this to you? You got it. This is not a game. We're losing lives. This is not a game. So we can't just be like, oh, hey, cool day in school. Yeah, right. Uh-huh. No. And I don't blame the parents. I literally, my heart falls to the ground because these families are good families. They had great relationships with their children. It just, they slipped through the cracks, but the cracks are in school. The cracks are the admin, the principal, the teachers, the superintendents. Like when you get these bully reports from parents, really do something about it. So that's what I say. I know I kind of expanded a little bit, but it's important for
Right.
people to know, that you really can. You really can. I really do get, we have such a bullying problem. We don't even know what to, this is like majority of the schools that we talk to or that I do presentations for. It's just, it's a crazy problem, but hey, what do we do? Please stop saying, hey, what do we do? Because these are children and they are leaving the building. And I'm going to keep saying that to remind people all along this talk that we're losing kids ages 7 to 17.
I can dig it. So I'm going to touch upon something, and then we're gonna go to your app, and we can go to your curriculum after that. So,
Okay.
as a male, I want to talk to the dads for a minute, and I want to talk about how anxiety and depression goes into bullying that causes suicide.
Yeah.
So, when you're a black male walking on American soil, it's already tough for us out here.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are a old school black male that was raised with an old school daddy, old school grandfather, and raised you with this toughness and this masculine thing where you're not supposed to show emotion, you're not supposed to cry, you're supposed to suck it up and go no matter what. These kids nowadays don't want to suck it up. They want somebody to talk to. I'm gonna say when I was growing up, you had to be built tough. You had to be built like a Chevy and a Ford truck, like for real, for
Mm-hmm.
real. And so nowadays, from the parental standpoint of view, from fathers, they was going through things like this way back in the day, but they sucked it up and went, and it channeled over until their adulthood.
Yes.
Now they have a problem accepting the fact that one of their kids may have anxiety, one of the kids may have depression, one may have bullying, because they've been dealing with anxiety and depression their whole life and never got to see it about. And so, what do you have to say to the males, that's fathers, to help them understand that this is something that you really have to sit down and talk about, and you need to fix yourself so you can help your children.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love that point that you just made. And what I will say, excuse me, got tongue twisted, is it's okay to cry, and it's okay to detach yourself from the theory that if you cry, you are weak. Because that's all it is. We've all been told that growing up. My father's 81, and he says my nickname is Lulu. And he says, Lulu, when I was a kid, we just used to hit, when the bully bothered us, we just punched the bully in the nose and then we will all be friends. I said, Dad, that was when you were 81. They come back with guns now, okay? They come back and take revenge on everyone, okay, when it's not addressed properly. But what I want to say is that we're in a different time, and it's a different culture, and
Mhm.
you have to go with the times. And so basically our kids, because life is very heavy now, back then things were different. Now I'm not saying for a black male in the United States, because that's a whole nother show, but I'm saying that just the culture, us back in the day, it just was different, right? Like it took a village, people that on the block, everybody, people had aunts and everyone raised the kids. It's not like that. We have single parent homes. We have, just underserved and underprivileged families over and over and over. And they're just kind of getting like nothing from society to really, really help as far as tools to adjust in the world that we have today. We're not 20 years ago. We're in 2022 right now. So right now, things are extreme. Domestic violence is tripled, child abuse is tripled and doubled, suicides, murders, breaking in cars, homes, everything is heightened because the pandemic just brought this stuff. It's not because of the pandemic, it just showed us, it's showing us what
Mhm.
people really do and how they respond to a shift such as this. What I would say is to lose, if you love your children, which I know people love their kids, you don't want to see anything happen to them, but
Right.
lose the ego. That's the bottom line. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to be real.
Hmm.
Lose the ego and step into your id so that you can relate to your kids and you can heal through that and they can heal through that. Let them know that it's okay to show emotion. It is not a sign of weakness. It actually is a sign of strength that you say, hey, I acknowledge my feelings and I'm going to feel them. Stop pushing everything under the rug, because what it does is it starts to build a pile of junk inside your
Hmm.
children and even in yourself. You can still be strong and show emotion. And I want to talk about a study that was done to prove this point. They took babies. Okay, a study was done at I think it was New York University. It was one of the universities, a credible study, and it's published if you guys want to look it up. But anyway, they took male babies and female babies, and they sat them in a room, and they had all of these moms come in, and they had the moms, say goodbye to the boy babies, and they had the moms say goodbye to the girl babies. So guess what happened? What happened is the study thought that it would be the baby girls who would be doing all of the crying because stranger danger, because they were left alone. No, it turned out that all of the boy babies began to cry immediately. And all of the girl babies, because we are nosy women, they started looking around and playing with their fingers like they just were not bothered by being left alone. And it was just for, a few seconds. When the moms returned, the baby boys were, and this is where I'm saying this because it's really a parable, and it's an
Hmm.
example of how we can step in. So obviously, if that ever happened, a male, not every male, but a lot of males would be like, oh, shake it off. Your mom left. You see, the word shake it off really, really sets kids up to internalize everything, because it means that how I'm feeling emotionally, no one really cares about it. So open up. Once again, be open with your kids. Not Stop asking questions that are so huge to where they're like, I don't even know how to answer that. Be direct with your kids. There's sometimes we need to use open-ended questions because we want them to expand, but be direct with them. Ask them,
Right, right.
and don't be afraid to embrace them when they are showing their emotion. That's a big one for males. When you see your son crying, please don't leave him there. Please don't think that, oh, he's going to be all right. He has to learn how to be tough. Being tough is really being strong. And being strong is being in tune with your emotions, not out of pocket with them. So I beg to differ with all of the labels and what society says and all of these things. But men, you're not weak if you show emotion, and you're not weak if you give emotion. Hug your boys, kiss them. It's like a disease for some men to kiss their sons, kiss them on the top of the head, just something. Human connection, human touch, and letting them know that their emotions matter. Because what you will get is a whole generation of healthy marriages. Remember, men enter into marriages. So if they're all closed up, and most women are not, and then they say, oh, she's nagging. She's not nagging all of the time. Sometimes she just wants you to talk to her. That's it. It's that simple. But if you're trained opposite, children should be seen and not heard. Oh, suck it up. Oh, you're this. You don't have it. We're training people, or males, a lot of males, not all, or were raised to not feel emotion, but we're just training robots. And what happens to metal, right? Metal starts to tarnish if it's not oiled. So our kids begin to tarnish, adults begin to tarnish. And I will say this too, a lot of, and these are clinical things that I always throw out, but a lot of male bullies, corporate bullies, male positions, because there's adult bullying. That's why we have the adult version of the app. But a lot of them have this mindset that they never can feel anything. They're just a beast in business, and they do everything well, but they never feel. So don't be afraid to feel, and don't be afraid to allocate and give human touch to your sons. Be an example. If you got hurt, let them know, ow. Stop trying to be tough guy. Ah, that's all right. Oh, my finger's falling off and bleeding, but it's okay. Say, ow, yes, man, this does hurt. You want to get me some tissue and help me? Like, do that so that they are aware that it's okay to express themselves. We only lose people, Jacob. Honestly, we only lose people because they feel like they cannot express themselves. And the finality is their expression. When they take their life, they really told us, hey, you guys, no one stepped up. No one asked me what was going on. No, this is what they believe I'm saying. No one helped me, and my voice does not matter anyway. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to walk around until I can't take it anymore. And then I'm going to take it into my own hands. And this is adult and children. This just goes, the rule of thumb in general.
Right, right, right. So that's I just wanted to bring that point up about the males because I
Yeah.
I just heard it so much over my life, and I still hear it to this day, man. We ain't
Right.
raising no sissies, or you need to suck it up and go. And I told one of my friends, I said, don't tell him to suck it up and go, bro, because if he suck it up and go and he take it out on somebody in the world and he get in some trouble he can't get out of, you told him to suck it up and go.
Absolutely.
I mean, I said, talk to him, man. Let him open up to you,
Yeah.
because if you keep a child closed off from you and they feel like they can't talk to you, then they feel like you really don't love them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think thank you for that dialogue. I appreciate that. So we're going to talk about your app, your curriculum, and so on and so forth.
So, the Bullying Buddy is an awesome app. Not because I'm the intellectual properties and I'm spiritual, so I give God the glory for giving the intellectual properties, but it's in the last stages of being patent. It passed through patent pending, so we're out of that because it's very unique. So, what it does is it records in real time, and as something is going on or someone's being violated, you actually, the parent, the admin, the bus driver, they get an alert right to their phone, and you see the video, you see what's going on with your child. It is voice activated, it is manual as well. And I even put a place in the app called the Watcher, because he's in my new book. I have a new book coming out, Are You Raising a Bully? But the Watcher is the person that stands around. So now he has a job to do. He can now also record things, and it goes to admin and his parents, so that he's helping. Inside of the app too, the Game Changer social media platform, if someone is being bullied on, well, cyber bullied on Facebook or the other platforms, sometimes they don't know how to report. Sometimes they don't get back to them if they do report. So inside of the app, there's a space called the information station, and then there's a space with Snap and Instagram and Facebook. So when you are being bullied or you are being violated, you have your proof right there, and it takes you to the back end to report. So that is a game changer. Also, too, if you cannot reach your phone voice activated, all you say is emergency, and it begins to record. If you get bullied and you have, what my dad calls a shiner, or you have a bruise, and it happened earlier, and let's just say you're on your way home now, you can take a picture of it in the bathroom. You can take a picture of it on your way home, and your mother or dad will get an alert that you have a bruise. And when you come in the door, it makes it easier for you to speak about it, because they already know about it. In the app as well, there's a bereavement section, which I really love. And this section, people can put stories and pictures about their loved ones or people that they know. They can upload it in there, and the story about the child or the picture never leaves. What we're doing here is collecting data. The CDC says they need the true data to give the true numbers. This app is going to give it to them, because there is no lying on this app. Even on the adult, I hit her, she hit me first, all of that. You can't lie anymore. You're going to be recorded in real time, and 5 people on Stomp, 5 people you enter into your phone, your neighbor, your mother, your wife, your whomever, and they get an alert. Let's just say you're being drugged. Someone, took you while you're jogging, and you're just being drugged. You don't have time to call 911. You just whisper.
Right.
You can whisper with this. So your violator won't even know. It's so temperamental. When I'm on luncheons and presenting, and people are eating, and I say emergency, I talk about it, and the app just will go, and it catches people. So we laugh, but they say, wow, that was fast, and that was like on point. So it's immediately, it stops the violation, whether it be bullying, whether it be human trafficking, domestic violence, someone trying to murder you, trying to, steal your purse, whatever. People will know right when it's going on. So it's a good deterrent more than anything, but it captures evidence. There's no way that you can lie on this app. It also gives education. There's a information station inside there with a list of therapists by culture, Asian, African American, Hispanic, so that we appeal. The app is also in Spanish, and will be in the next few months in the 10 main languages, which we're so excited about. Stomp, once again, elder abuse, domestic violence, human trafficking, racial crime. If you're a male, a black male that you stated earlier, or even women, but I'm just saying, we know that that's a target. And no more do you have to say, I'm recording you, because I feel that I watch all of these things. I watch the last minutes of people. I listen to 911 calls. I had to do a lot of, investigations before I finalize this. And what I see is there's a lot of time before someone really dies. There really is. Even if it's like 10 minutes where the person's going back and forth yelling, and she's on with 911, and they're loud. And of course, it's going to make someone really finish you, really take your life, because this is incognito. You could be in a closet while someone's shooting up a room, and people know. It also tracks for 10 minutes. So while you're in a closet at your address and you really can't talk to the police, all you do is just click it, or say emergency or EBB. You could just click it as well as silent. It's picking up audio. If you can't show, it's picking up your address. So right when you're being violated, even if someone takes you in a car, it's endless, the tracking on it. There's no like just 5 miles or 100 miles. It tracks you. It's endless. So someone will definitely know where
Hmm.
you are, and they can send authorities over faster than if you had to even call 911 and listen to ENT for 15 minutes while you're bleeding out or someone else is. I'm just a little bit raw with, I don't sugarcoat.
I ain't mad with you, baby. Bring it, baby. Bring it. Bring
Okay.
it. Like, cause this is something that needs to be talked about. It needs to be heard. Cause
Yes.
for the last probably 2.5, 3 years, I I work with Unique Blessings nonprofit organization, and we went our separate ways. But what we did work on, what I did learn as a male, is a lot about domestic violence. Sexual assault,
Yes.
human trafficking, um, 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 sexual email marketing. When I say sexual email marketing, people get somebody email and they just bother them. They say vocal things to them. You know, that's a form of sexual bullying. And
Yes, it
so
is.
and so I learned a lot, especially a lot about human trafficking. And you telling me about this app. So
Yes.
human trafficking is like a $4 billion business. And so, with that being said, this app is something that all these organizations who fight against human trafficking definitely need this in their organization.
Definitely.
So
Yes.
this is wonderful. This is this is greatness at its best, and it's definitely gonna help people. I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank
I
you.
really am so proud of you. It's
Thank
amazing. It's amazing.
I appreciate it.
No doubt. So,
But yeah, we're here to save
that
lives. That's what we're here to
right,
do.
right. And there was a couple of other more websites that you sent me. Was it Stump?
Yes. So Stomp is behind me on that side, this side. So
Right, right.
that is the adult version. Now Stomp will be in stores in about 3 weeks, so we're so excited. Bullying Buddy is already in stores, so it's in both Android, Apple. The second phase is beginning to take place, so it'll be on watches, and it services anyone that has a phone. It's not just for. I get this a lot. Like, is it just for schools? No, it is for schools and for any place that you have your child. I homeschool Corey. So, the app is for him when he goes to taekwondo or he goes to play basketball or anything. It's a safety app. Do you know, the funny thing is that I use this app. I love to walk, and I'm not going to do what I normally do because I've been walking, at night or early in the morning in the dark. And there have been things happening in California where people are trying to take people for organs. And this is the kind of world we live in. And I have the Bullying Buddy obviously on both of my phones. This is the app. I don't know if you can see it, but the little B right
Hmm.
there, the B, the this one. But anyway, I use it. My CTO is hooked up to my app, so I'm in my app as a child, and she's the adult in there. But I use it, and sometimes when it's dark, and you just hear dogs barking, or the trees blow the wrong way or something, and I'll just hurry up and say emergency to make sure it's working, and then she gets an alert, and she's like, "You taking your walk?" I'm like, "Yes," because that's how fast people. This is, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. It really is.
Right,
And not because I created it. Like I said, I give God the glory. It's a mission, but it is
right,
a game changer. This will
right,
definitely save lives, and even prevent. It's not just about like everyone's always going to die. That's not it either. But it
right.
educates inside the app, and then it will prevent. It will prevent things from happening.
And so I just feel like if my I have a college buddy by the name of Jason Gilmore, and he and I went to school together, and he called me one day, man, and he was like, "Man, I got something to tell you," and he said, "You might want to sit down for this." He said, "My baby, your goddaughter, has been a victim of college date rape,"
Oh yes.
and he was like, "Man, man, Gabby don't bother because her name Gabrielle. She don't.
Mm.
He's like, you know how she is. She really mild mannered, don't really bother nobody." She like the everybody likes to be around her, man. And he was like, but I mean, when you not when you don't have daddy and mama around, I just feel maybe she took her guard down, or I said maybe she entrusted nice gestures that the male said,
There you go. There you
you know.
go.
And then what you talking about this app, I feel like a lot of the college, especially you away from home, you in the dorm, I mean, and so but you're not only meeting people from the college, but you meet people who is not from college and maybe at some
Right.
downtown nightclub you hanging out with, and you know,
Alcohol.
yeah, all that. So I think that this is great. It should be presented to a lot of college campuses as well,
Yes.
and I think it's great. And then even
Thank
with the
you.
elderly, because a lot of people break into the elderly houses, so I think it's
Oh
great.
yeah, it services that as well.
Oh wow, okay,
It
okay,
does.
okay.
It's for everything. It's for
Mhm.
inside of Stomp. It names the different violations that it protects. So collegiate violations is in there. Elder abuse is in there. Even financial abuse, because a lot of people call elders and they get them and they swindle them out of their money, and then the elders
Right,
never have the proof. I mean, this is just about proof. That's why I said we'll deter um, as well. And we've presented to universities. They were very, very excited about it. We're on our way to the Pentagon. We've been invited there, so we'll be going there at the end of June, and then we have some, like other things popping off in New Jersey, and our fashion
good for you.
show and a youth expo. We have a lot of things coming up.
Right, and then it would definitely be good for truck drivers as well, for
Yes,
sure. Yeah, for
oh
sure.
yes,
Yeah. So,
it will
but
be, will be.
so with you being a writer and you writing a whole curriculum, like
Yes.
let let's talk about that process because it seems like a lot.
It seems like 100 pages, but this is the Be Brave curriculum, and you
Mm,
see the shoes there. And
right.
so our motto, well, my motto for the core study of this is being high in our spirits, which is
Hmm.
humble, integral, grateful, and honest. So the
Right.
whole curriculum is based on those pillars, and it's empathy, it's SEL, it's CASEL, like all of these. I used to own a daycare and preschool program, and all of these things are important. But what we're missing in education today is empathy based structured classes. I'm so happy that my son has an SEL class. Since the pandemic,
Uh-huh.
they have mandatory SEL, and that's social emotional learning for people who don't know the terminology. And it's just the emotional and social learning component, which to me is the important component when you're in school and doing things, not just classes, math, history, English. Like I said, we're in a different world today. So the
Right.
curriculum is designed for someone who is 1 year old all the way up to someone who is 100 years old or older, however long someone lives. And it has so many different experiential activities and fun things that can be doing elder homes, group homes, at home with families, and then with students. I mean, like way off the stuff. Even in my practice, I'm just a little bit, I love to do exercises and things that kind
Hmm.
of make the brain say, huh, but it does get the message across. And the message is to accept everyone, no matter who they are, no matter what they look like, what they sound like. It's just we all deserve the opportunity to be validated. That's just the bottom line.
Okay. So if you were to present this to middle schools and high school and colleges, um, what would be that course?
What would be their course?
What would be that course that they would be taking?
Well,
Would it?
okay. So yeah, so the curriculum it has different stages and phases. It's like a six, well, you can do it over 6 weeks, you can do it over 4 weeks. It's just however you put it into your curriculum. But what it is
Okay.
it's not really just a class, it's just experiences. It's different
Hmm.
models and different activities and different breaking down. But what it really is, it would fall under, if I had to put it under a category, it would fall under SEL, social and emotional learning. That's what it would fall under.
Bingo, bingo.
Yes.
So I'm. This is what I'm gonna say about that. See, I'm gonna say that definitely needs to be in school. I would say. I would say. I'm gonna put it out there. I think it need to be mean. Maybe, maybe you don't have time, but it sounds like something volume 1 through 4, where
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
it can go all the way from up to 7th grade all the way up to senior in college,
Oh
because
yeah.
these
Yeah.
is the skill set that you need to navigate through society. And I tell people, when I grow up, we had help navigating through society. You
Right.
know, you know, because my father, his name is Jacob. My mother's name is Amelia. Oh, you Jacob and Amelia's boy. So
Right.
come on, young fella. Let me show you something right here. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And talk to me. Let me teach you something. So I can name countless of older men where I just sat on their steps and they were just giving me,
Right.
jewels, just jewels. And I feel like these kids don't have the jewel dropping older people nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they gave me a lot of game to navigate through society and to stay out of harm's way. And so
Right.
and I feel like they don't have that. So with this curriculum right here, mm, yeah, social
Yes.
learning. Mm, listen,
Hmm.
that
And
is
emotional. There's a
yeah.
lot of things in there. Like there's just so many activities. I just was invited to the Boys and Girls Club, and I did a workshop, because I also do, when at the end I'll give my website, and I do trainings, workshops. Experiential learning is what it's called. And the kids were talking about how bullying makes them feel so down and they don't love themselves. And right in the middle of that, I popped out glasses with hearts around them, and they were like, huh? And I said, put them on. Okay, so everybody put them on, and then they were laughing, and I gave them mirrors, and I said, look at yourself through your love lenses and not your judge lenses. So when we put these glasses on, we're receiving everyone and ourselves in love. We are not receiving people in with the labels and the negative stuff that we've all been grown up and taught. And it really blew the kids away. It was so awesome. And
Yeah.
afterwards, I mean, it
It
was
just blew me away. It just that quote just blew me away. Look at yourself through your love lenses and not your judge lenses.
that's right.
Woo, woo,
So it's stuff like
man.
that in that book.
Yeah, that's a quote to live by every day of your life. For real,
Amen.
for real. For
Yes.
real, for real. Like cause we look at each other's situations, and I wouldn't do that if I was in a situation you don't know, because you're not in that situation.
Right. There you
So
go.
so you can only subjectively think on what you may or may
Right.
not do, but until in that situation directly and standing in those shoes, you don't know.
Yep.
You really don't know. So I just want to say, man, you doing something amazing. You're doing something that's going to help generations to come. And so I tell people, the purpose doesn't have to be for now. The purpose you can enter the purpose right now, but the purpose is really for generations and generations and generations to
Oh
come.
yes.
You know
You're
what I mean?
setting the tone.
Right. The blueprint, the outline.
Right.
So I just want to say thank you for coming through
Thank
and
you. I
sharing
appreciate it.
everything with you and with us, and just giving us some of that knowledge that you have, and dropping those jewels. And I just
Thank you.
want you to give everybody your platform, your website. And please, I seen where you do something in Clubhouse too, right?
Yes, I do have a clubhouse in there. My partner and I, and my CTO, Chief Technical Officer, we do on Thursday evenings. We have a clubhouse, and it's called No Bullies in Our Zone, because we're just not having it. And believe it or not, we have adults that join us. I mean, the first night we had like over 100 people, and no one even knew about us, and that's because they came in there and started sharing about corporate bullying, which also Stomp addresses corporate bullying. So,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, my handles are bullyingbuddy.world, because it's a world issue, stomp.world. Those are the two websites for each app. The Stomp app, once again, is a cutting edge safety app for adults. Bullying Buddy is a cutting edge safety and anti bullying app for adolescents, however early they are, that they, if they have a phone, they can use the app. And then, on LinkedIn, it's just my name, Tara Lynn Townes. Facebook, Tara Townes. Both the Bullying Buddy and Stomp have their own handles on Instagram, IG. And I have to say IG. I have to be cool, Jacob. The kids tell me, stop saying Instagram, is IG. So hey,
I do it is
IG.
then.
Yeah, they like correct me all the time. I gotta make sure I'm
Mm.
hip with them, boy. I'm telling you.
Right,
And
right,
then
right.
we're Bullying Buddy is also on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. It's everywhere. Just under Bullying Buddy, Stomp, and then me personally, Tara Lynn Townes. Once again, if you go to the website, you will see the app. You can download straight from the website. We're on both Apple and Android. I do trainings, consulting, anti-bullying consulting for schools, um, private clients. Anything you need, I'm here for mental wellness. I really don't like to call it mental illness anymore, because I want to set a different tone. I'm here for mental wellness. And
Okay,
so I
okay.
am, available. I support families who have lost children between the ages of 7 and 17. So if you know anyone or have anyone that's struggling with this, please, please reach out. We have a nonprofit organization called Tiny Be Mighty, and that is tinybemighty.org. We're a 501c3. We've been around since 2017. We're making waves. We're here, and we are not going to stop. And I so appreciate being invited on here. Thank you so much.
No doubt, no doubt. And I'll be inviting you, some months later, so
Awesome.
we can talk about, black family issues and how mental
Definitely.
wellness can help cure those generational curses. So I definitely
Amen.
definitely. So I just want to
Awesome.
thank you
Thank
for
you
coming
so
on,
much.
and
Definitely.
thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing with us. And just want to say shout out to Exquisite PR Firm for sponsoring this show. And I
Thank
will
you.
definitely be in touch with you later this week or early as next week, because
Okay.
I have a few things that I want to run by you.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. God bless you and everyone else around you.
Thank you so much. Likewise. Take care, be blessed, and stay encouraged.
You too.
All right. Peace.